mean, just the fact that they even, we went from a generation that grew up watching westerns to suddenly we were out in
Yes.
space. I mean, that
Yes.
was a huge leap. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about diametrically opposed genres.
Yeah. 100%. But if you look at what like those westerns and how those people were like trying to go for justice and be heroes and solve problems, they were doing that on the spaceship too, just in a whole other way, like with aliens or whatever. So there's all like, even though there are different places, like story is story is story, right? A story
Mhm.
just tells us about who we are as human beings. So
True.
maybe that's why I love
Well,
stories so much.
and I love that they even acknowledged that. There was that time when Spock's character talked about cowboy diplomacy. They
Yes.
acknowledged the whole
Yeah, a little
Western in
nod.
space type of thing.
Yeah, so
Um,
good.
yeah.
Amazing. I love
For that
that.
matter,
Yeah.
did you ever see the series Firefly? Because I mean, if ever there was a Western in space, Firefly totally
No, but I've recognized
won
the
that.
name, but I don't think I've
Yeah.
seen it.
It's actually
Okay.
pretty interesting, and it was
Okay.
full on cowboy in space type of mentality, and they brought that flair into it. It's worth
Amazing.
going if you ever want to watch something that's
Okay,
like
I'll have to look for
cowboys
that.
in space.
I'm I'm watching currently, I think it's called The Expanse. I just
Okay.
started it the other day. I think it's on Prime. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm like season one, and I think there's 6 seasons. So everyone's like, "Where have you been?" I didn't know, but it's good. Like it's interesting to see how different the Earth and Mars and different places are populated, and the conflicts between the places, and it's quite well. The sets are great and well shot. So, yeah, it's sort of the next level. Like if you go back to the old Star Treks, the original ones, you can go, oh, okay. I forgot how like those sets were pretty rudimentary.
Yeah,
Now there's
so
bigger
true.
budgets.
So true. The stories were still good though. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
when you've
were.
got a solid story, despite the budget, despite what they
Yes.
had back then, and it's still
Yeah.
on air all these years later, new generations looking.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. And but like you say, it's all about the story, and it's all about how we connect as viewers or readers to the story. And it tells us about ourselves as human beings and how we interact, and it goes back to that historical fiction that we were talking about earlier. Like we learn from that. We learn from these stories too. Um and I mean, we don't always listen to the lessons. They are there to be had.
Absolutely. Well, for that matter, just because a story doesn't fly, so to speak, at the beginning, because Star Trek: The Original Generation only got 3 years. Thank you, Lucille Ball, for those 3 years, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the fact that it came back, reimagined, bigger and better, what, in
Yeah,
1980,
like that.
maybe?
Yeah, somewhere in the
Something
80s. I
like
don't
that.
remember the year.
I mean,
Yeah.
but just, yeah, just that it got found new life, and then wow, it's taken off since then. So just
Yeah,
because the
incredible.
first blush doesn't fly right out the gate doesn't mean that later on. So just because we write a book and maybe it doesn't fly initially, maybe with some tweaking later on,
Yeah,
suddenly boom,
that's
we find our audience. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
I
just about
think you're right
timing.
there. That happens quite often where somebody's book will be out and it does whatever, and then it sort of disappears, and then for whatever reason picks up steam later. And whether it's like something that's really topical or um, just get the right readers find it, and then it becomes something that's really important to them. So, yeah, I think we can't judge anything by like, of course, we were talking earlier about promo and getting those reviews, and that's how a book gets like going and initially, but like the books doesn't go away. Once we put it out in the world, it's out in the world, and we have to let it find its way too. And that might take some time. So
Exactly.
it's
If
good.
nothing else, maybe the right person reads it, maybe they're inspired by something you wrote.
Yeah.
Same thing
Which
with music
actually,
artists.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that is so special. Like I've had people reach out to me who've read books I've written just out of the blue. And I'm always like shocked and delighted about how a book has touched them and moved them. And I didn't I didn't understand that when I was writing it, like, or writing that scene or whatever. But people will say to me, for instance, I wish I'd talked to my father or my grandparent about such and such time in their life because now they're gone and I can't ask them, and I'm like, yeah, like I was really privileged to be able to have those conversations with my dad, and he was 84 before he wasn't able to answer those questions, right? Like yeah. So sometimes that individual reader, if it makes a difference for them, we've done our job.